right, so this is a 1992 Land Rover Defender 90, and it was originally manufactured for Italian distribution, so it's actually a left-hand drive, which is what we use in America, which is great, but it's not North American spec, so you don't have the roll bar that they had to have when they sold these. They only sold these for 3 years in America, sold them forever everywhere else, and this is one of the ones that luckily fits America, but was sold elsewhere, so it's fantastic. We have matte black paint that takes scratches really well without showing a bunch of dirt. The grill guards are original. The headlights are Thomas Performance from England, LED, super bright. This is a steel winch bumper from Rover's North in Vermont. It mimics the factory bumper, but it adds this tray for the winch, and these LED lights, also super bright. And if you've ever seen one of these Rovers out in the world with the original headlights, the Hella's great company, but the lights leave a lot to be desired. These Thomas LEDs are amazing. This is a 10,000-pound remote control Smittybilt winch with a synthetic line. It's much safer, much less maintenance, lasts longer, in my opinion. Everybody has theirs. So it's got a cable that you can use if the remote dies, but the remote allows you to winch remotely, so you can stand out of the winch path and out of danger as you're using the winch. The Siren is original. As I said, this is an Italian Army vehicle, so the original green here is theirs, and this is what they used for whatever they needed it for. It's still functional. I'm not sure if the switch inside is wired up right now or not, because we've changed some things in the dash, which I can show you. The wheels and tires are not original. These are Defender Land Rover spaced wheels. They're steel wheels, which help off-road. If you hit something, you end up bending this bead, you can bang it with a hatchet or a hammer back into shape, and it'll still hold the tire for you. The stock tires and wheels on this, you typically hear called pizza cutters. They're very small and very narrow. These are obviously not that. These are BF Goodrich KO2s. They're some of the best off-road tires on the market. We have all the way around those wheels and tires, including the spare, which is full size. The suspension is an Old Man Emu heavy-duty suspension. Old Man Emu is renowned for off-road performance. It's fantastic. This is a winter cover for the heater air intake, so if you're out in the woods and there's snow falling, it doesn't fall into this intake, which is under here, and create a situation where you're trying to draw warm air in and it's having to filter through snow. So this helps the inside cab in the winter or the fall to get warm faster. So let's see. It is a diesel. The key is on the ignition. Gotta be careful we don't bend that. But yeah, so this locks in place. You unlock it with a key, which is part of the key ring. Let's see, the light guards are all the way around. These are original factory. We also stayed with the original light covers all the way around. I like that look better. There's LED options, which are super sharp. I just like this based on what this vehicle is. This is a front runner rack from South Africa. It's fantastic. It's all aluminum, super lightweight, and super strong. I've walked across this thing multiple times with no issues, and I'm not the smallest of guys. This is a Mantec steel tire carrier that's bolted and mounted into the frame. This is custom. We had this installed because the wheels and tires are so much larger than stock. The normal way this is mounted is this wheel and tire is mounted on the door itself, and this wheel and tire would have just ripped these hinges out of the vehicle or warped the door. It was way too heavy. So this is self-supporting now. This entire tire is supported by the frame of the vehicle, so you won't have any problems. We replaced the pintle hitch with a standard Reese receiver. This is just an extension so that if I'm towing something, it's not conflicting with the spare tire. This can come out, and it's also an attachment point if you need to be recovered to the rear. So this is bolted into the frame. You can pull just about anything you want to pull with it. This is a short wheelbase vehicle, and I wouldn't recommend pulling a trailer, but if you need to get pulled out or pull something, that is an option. The rear glass, the rear wiper works, the defroster works. We had to replace all that because that 30-year-old vehicle with multiple uses, who knows what happens to it, but this is all functional. We added the front runner drawer system, which extends almost 100%. You can put, I think it's rated to 150 pounds worth of gear inside here, and it's lockable. It's fully secure. When the vehicle is closed, all your gear is locked up. There's a cubby here that's got a mat underneath it. You can store anything up to about 36 to 40 inches long, I think is what this will hold. It's a great spot to put anything back here. It went from in this load bay. You can have anything wet, muddy, whatever. You can spray this out. This is a rubber liner from Land Rover. It covers the entire bay, so now you have a full width. This is great for somebody who has animals that they want to transport. Some dogs back here, you couldn't hurt a thing. This is bomb-proof stuff. I also have the jump seats that bolt, 2 on this side, 2 on that side. You're welcome to have those if you want them. You'd have to remove the drawer system, which is not hard to do. It's bolted to the frame with a few bolts, so it would take a little bit of work, but you could pop this out and put those seats back in that are the normal standard jump seats, all newly upholstered. They look great, and they would go here if you want them. We replaced the headliner, because again, it was an old military vehicle. It smelled like a locker room. So this is much better, much nicer quality stuff. We added just some real basic LED lighting in the load bay back here. That one's not working right now, but they're just run on AA batteries. Just so you can have, if you're in the woods and you're trying to get into your gearbox or anything, you can have a little bit of light back here, because Land Rover, the load bay was never lit well. That's just not something they were concerned about. So that's that. Mud flaps are all the way around, which really helps. Now you'll notice though, on the front, the tires are a little bit proud. The offset's a little different. So if you're in the mud, there will be mud down the side of the vehicle. It just keeps it to a minimum. So the rear windows are slides. There's multiple detents where you can open them to different degrees and they'll stay there. These do not have the rattling problem that I've heard from a lot of Defenders. This is super quiet, as quiet as a Defender gets, because over the engine noise, you're not going to hear much. So we've added the Defender mats from later models, because these are super heavy duty, easy to get mud off of them, wash them out. The front's completely reupholstered. The dashboard, the heat selector works. Everything on here works. Fuel gauge, temperature gauge, battery meter. This is all functional stuff. We had the speedometer. Made sure we put that's miles per hour, not kilometers per hour. So that's nice to have on the road. We added these Defender demisters from England, because the original dash only provided for a little demisting up in the front. So if you're driving in rain and you've got no air coming into the vehicle, this thing fogs up pretty easily without this. And these redirect some to the side windows here, so it actually cleans this off. It's super, super helpful. We replaced the shifters with this billet aluminum. They were just old rubber, and the shift pattern was worn off of it, so we replaced all of that. Also, we can go around to the other side and I'll show you the rest of the dash. We added some things. It is a manual transmission, 5-speed. The snorkel's been added. This was added, and the intake's been sealed, and I have drain plugs for the differentials, so you can close those up, as well as we've extended the breather tubes from the differentials up actually into the snorkel. So if you're in deep water, you're not getting water into your differential. You don't have to put the plugs in if you're just driving through a stream, but if you're going to be driving down a stream for 30-40 minutes, you probably want to do that before you jump in there. But anyway, no rust underneath. The prop shafts have all new OEM U-joints, so that's a point of failure I've read about different places. We replaced all of those. The transfer case has been replaced with a refurbished Ashcroft unit. The rear differential is a 10 spline differential, and we've added onboard air and a rear ARB air locker to work with that, so you can lock those wheels together when you're off-road. This thing will climb out of anything. And we've also put differential guards on the front and rear differentials, because that's the lowest point of the vehicle, and if you're off-road in terrain, you want to make sure you don't catch a rock on that and let all your fluid drain out, because it'll come out through the tiniest little hole. So those are fully protected. Everything else is really up. These things are designed to be, you know, out in it, so they're amazing. We can go around the other side and I'll show you the rest of the dashboard modifications, and I think that's about it. Let's see. Oh, interestingly, this has a thumb throttle, so you can actually actuate the throttle by using this, and it's got different detents in it for different settings. So that's pretty handy for a number of reasons. We replaced the hood latch because the other one was chewed up. You could barely unlatch the hood. This works great now. The suction cup doesn't want to work, but the Garmin Montana is the unit that comes in the vehicle. It's a fantastic GPS unit that can be used in the vehicle. It's wired into power. It's also got batteries that I think they tell you will last for 8 or more hours if you're hiking or fishing and need to get back to the vehicle, because it'll track you as well as give you directions like any normal GPS will. In the dash here, there are one 12 volt and two USB in those sockets that look like 12 volts that are just USB power, and then there's a switch for the rear wiper and a switch for the rear fluid dispenser there, so that all works. We've also reworked the front wiper motor, and we've gotten those where they used to be real sluggish, so if you're in a decent rain, it was tough to really see. We've gotten that working now. You're still driving a Defender. It's still basically a tractor that runs on the road, so it's not as nice as the wipers on my Toyota, but it definitely gets the job done. Yeah, fully recarpeted. We also added Dynamat throughout the cab, so that for sound deadening, since the motor's right here and everything else is, the whole powertrain's right underneath you, that did a wonderful job. That Dynamat product is amazing of dampening the sound. But ultimately, it's a 200TDi diesel, and it sounds like it. So we call it the grunt because of that grunting sound that the motor makes. It's super strong. I'm sure there's some tweaking that can be done to the motor, but it's got great compression, starts up every time. It is a diesel, so you'll have to be cognizant of the glow plug. And in the winter, I've been in the woods before where it's been 30 degrees overnight, and we're breaking camp, and I need to let that glow plug hit maybe 4 or 5 times to get that fuel ready to spark when the compression lights it. So, but yeah, I think that's just about everything. If you have any other questions, just let us know. We'll answer them to the best of our ability.